Hi, I'm Ritika Pareek. I'm a political science student at Kamala Nehru College, Delhi University. I have decided to make this video on education since I recently participated in a policy hackathon, which put us to solve a policy problem on education. And besides that, through one of our weekly activities, I got the chance to discuss on the same topic with one of our fellow participants, and I came across really interesting insights on the whole prospect of accessibility to education in India. What I see as a problem in education goes back to the time when India adopted the concept of formal education as given to us by British bureaucratic system. They structured education to create English-speaking elite class individuals with no scope of critical thinking, which till date impacts the education structure, as it was not flexible system to create educated youth, but rather individuals to serve them. And also this structure created a problem of this whole divide of accessibility that we see now. And later with time, when India got independent, we modified the same education system into the one which we see now. Though the new education policy brings forth major structural changes, it still lacks to form a structure that fits into Indian context and milieu. With a country whose population composition is diversely unique, where we see the major chunk of population is stuck in the pothole of poverty, for this population, the idea of accessibility is far away, and even if they somehow get enrolled, as Amartya Sen and many other economists have highlighted, the never-ending rates of dropouts due to plethora of reasons. Government never focused on education sector even back from the time of blooming industrialization to now. RT came 11 years ago, and yet we have not achieved our basic target of 100% literacy, 100% enrollment rates. And now with the year of pandemic, it has gone too far to build a wall between those who are technologically wealthy and the ones who are not. As the whole process of education went online, there are estimates coming out regarding the increase in dropout rates in India that we are going to witness when physical classes commence. And most of it is still evident. The government keeps introducing various initiatives like midday meals, and now recently Assam government announced the initiative of providing monetary incentives to school-going girls to tackle the dropout issue. But somewhere none of these initiatives have exponentially changed the ground reality. I think the government has looked away from this poor section who do not understand the whole concept of education, learning, knowledge, and this asks for a lot of groundwork to create social change. Though we have NGOs and several other civil society agents working on the same, but hitherto we have noticed that it has failed to penetrate to the rural areas where it is needed the most. One of the major takeaways, I would say, be the ignorance toward our rural poor, and as to how they look towards the accessibility to education and the whole idea of why do their kid need to be educated. And the other would be the social change that calls for attention there and time again. Education should become more accessible and inclusive in all aspects, and for the same, government and our other active change agents must not turn their head away from the reality and should also look towards those smaller chunk of population who do not even know their right to education, since they are not yet aware to know any of their basic rights, and education is the last thing that comes to their head. So I think that's one of the basic takeaways that I have had, that our education system needs a structural change, but with that, the social change that is initially needed to take them towards that structural change and to make them understand why do they really need education. And none of the government policy is going to work until and unless they do know what education is and why is it really important and why does every individual has a right to education. And one of the major takeaways that I have taken from my whole understanding and whole reading on this problem of accessibility to education, as this whole divide is not just in education. This is a byproduct we have also seen in education. This whole divide is in every sector, as the poor and the rich are the gap is increasing day by day, and this is one of that smaller prospect to it. That is what I think. Yeah, even with the coming of new education policy, I think there's a lot to change. Rather than top to bottom approach, we should change our approach to bottom to top, and that's where I see the change.